Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris is now on the Audacy app and Audacy.com.
Now, it's time for Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. Here's your host, Greg Bicouvaris.
And welcome back to Sports Scene. A reminder, our good friends at Linda Matney Art Gallery in Williamsburg, don't let art vanish, let art come alive. Right there in Williamsburg, great place to browse, shop, and visit. Go by and see Lee Matney and his great team at Linda Matney Art Gallery. Google Linda Matney Art Gallery for great shows, tours, and exhibits. It's a pleasure right now to talk to John Ashley. John is the Director of Athletics at York High School, went to York High School. John, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Greg. I appreciate you having me on again.
Very good, very good. Before we talk about the sports and the recap of York and the Bay Rivers, John, you got a big event coming up next week, and tell the public about it.
Yeah, we do. We all know that there is an officials shortage across the nation, and we're feeling it here locally as well. I went to my principal, the Virginia High School League. They throw out advertisements about how to become an official, and I figured locally we can kind of do our part, and we're going to have an officials job fair for that will cover the 757 and all the way up to New Kent area. But on Thursday, June 15th, like I said, we'll host this officials job fair, and we're inviting the public, anybody in the local area to come out. We're going to have all the officials that we have contracts with under one roof. They'll be able to go around and speak to the individual groups, learn about each of the associations, what it takes to become an official, what it costs, the training that's involved, just to learn about officiating as a whole. Because we know that if we don't do something about this problem, I'm not going to call it a pandemic, but we have a problem, with the official shortage. We're going to be without high school sports here in the near future. So, I figure that locally we can do our part. I'm getting support by the Bay Rivers District as well as Virginia High School League. So, again, we're hoping that that it's successful, that we get a good turnout, and we'll see how it rolls, and we'll get ready to do it again next year.
Talking to John Ashley, the Director of Athletics at York High School. He went to York High School, and, of course, a plug to make sure he gets the proper plug this time. I went to school with his relative, Ken Ashley, as well. And, of course, Ken is such a great person, too, John. I had to throw that in there. Really quiet soul.
He is. I'm very fortunate that he's part of the family there.
Absolutely. Just had to throw a plug in there for Ken Ashley too. All right, and you talk about what a great season it's been for York High School as far as sports. We'll get to football a little bit later, but there's a lot more than just football and basketball. And of course, you've done a great job of making every sport even. I think that's part of your legacy there at York High School, that you don't play favorites. You treat each sport. You're always out in the spring sports just as you are during the fall season as well. And, of course, talk about that. What a great spring season.
You know what, Greg? I couldn't have asked for a better spring. We've been so competitive. Now, obviously, we had our ups and downs in all of our sports, but, our teams came on strong. We had a couple of our track young ladies made first-team All-State. One broke, I think it was a 20-year-old state long jump record this past weekend. Our baseball program won its first Bay Rivers District title since 2012. Our girls soccer team, they made their second consecutive straight state quarterfinal appearance. Unfortunately, they came up on the short end of the stick last night at Brentsfield District, where they lost 2-1, but what a great game it was. Our girls hung in there. And then, of course, the group that I really need to speak about is our softball team, coached by Amy Hunter. They're still going strong. They beat Brentsfield District last night 15-3 to earn a spot in the state semifinals on Friday. The part of the Virginia High School League Spring Jubilee, the Class 3 portion will be held at Riverbend High School on Friday. So we get to take on a really good Cave Spring team here Friday at 1 o'clock.
So you're busy pretty much year round. And what you said in the earlier segment about the officials and the shortage, is that all the sports, including the spring sports too, John, or is it primarily football coming up and basketball?
It's all the sports. There was a time when, weather would force us to force a cancellation, and we would have to reschedule. And we knew we can count on the next day we could have officials. That's not the case any longer. And now we have to check with officials and see if they can supply us and support that game. Many times they'll send out an information packet letting us know that they only have officials available on certain days. So it's everybody has been impacted. All the sports are impacted. So again, we want to see if we can do our part and promote it, and again, have a one-stop shop, for the community to come in and learn about the officials around our area.
Yeah, because the South Side, they have their issues too. They have 11 high schools alone in Virginia Beach. I mean, so it's an issue not just in Hampton Roads, but probably, John, throughout the state and throughout the country as well.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a nationwide shortage, and for whatever the reason is, we really need them. If our sports are going to be able to continue moving forward.
Absolutely, not just varsity, but JV as well. Officials are needed, and good officials, and kind of you get a part-time check and have a lot of fun. You network and you meet somebody, and you go from there. So it's a great thing. Explain to the public, John, the difference. Let's say in Virginia Beach, where the kids play at their own high school. Newport News Todd Stadium is like the host site for the Newport News schools, a neutral facility. Then, of course, Hampton's got Darling Stadium. Gloucester has their own wonderful stadium. But in Yorktown, it's a little bit different. You do host the schools for Tab and Grafton as well, in addition to York, correct? And explain that dynamic that on a Friday night, Tab could be playing York High School. You're the visiting team, but you're still the home athletic director. Do you have to keep eye on the field, the officials, the press box? Talk about multitasking on a road game at York High School.
Bailey Field, it is located on the campus of York High School. But, however, all three of our local schools here, Grafton, Tab, as well as York, we do share it with regards to football, field hockey, and soccer. So you are correct that if Tab High School is hosting a football game and York is the visiting team, I don't get the night off, but I'm not as stressed out as I am if it's my home game. I don't have to worry about the ticket workers. I don't have to worry about the concession. I don't have to worry about the announcer taking care of the officials. I worry about our fans and worry about our team, and I actually get to enjoy the game a little more.
Right, but knowing you probably still keep an eye on all those things you talked about.
I do. Our football team, even though we're the away team, we still have the advantage of going into the building at halftime. But I make my rounds. I'll check on the home AD to see if they need anything. But again, I am able to enjoy the game a little more when we are away.
All right, let's preview the football season before we let you go here. We appreciate your time, your talent, and your treasure.
Sure.
Your team did make the postseason last year under Coach P. Talk about this year coming up. What do you expect? You do lose a couple of assistants. You're always going to lose players, a lot of attrition there. But it seems like he has a way of rebounding each year.
Well, coaches, always talk about rebuilding, retooling. Since I've been here, this graduating class here, we lost a ton of experience. Many of them had started since they were sophomores back during that COVID season. So experience, depth, we lost it. But we have a great group of young individuals coming back. Some good-sized linemen returning. Coach Pereira has the weight room up and running here. We're getting ready to break out, for the school year, and he's getting ready to start his summer conditioning program. So, we're going to be in the mix. We're going to have some individuals that are going to be in some key positions that don't quite have the experience that we were used to in the past, but we're still looking for an exciting season. We've got some young, good athletes coming in that not only helped us out at the varsity level last year, but also excelled at the JV level. So I think the crowd will be pleased. They'll put on a good show for him. Coach P, yeah, he sandbags a little bit, but he's gonna put a good product out there on the field.
Well, a successful person always sandbags for the future because you never know what the future is going to hold. So Coach P is a wise man. Leave us with one more thought about the big event next week.
I make the plea to the community, if you're a senior in high school getting ready to graduate, but you're going to stay close here to the 757, or if you're currently in college and you're interested in getting back in the sport, look at officiating. We need football officials, we need volleyball officials, wrestling, field hockey, soccer, baseball, softball, basketball. We need cheer officials. We need them across the entire board, and it's a great way to pick up some extra money, as a side gig, and we're going to need it moving forward if our athletic teams are going to survive.
Very good, John. Give us the hours again.
Thursday, June 15th. From 6 o'clock to 7:30 right here at York High School, and that's 9300 George Washington Memorial Highway.
Right on the road to Gloucester. Very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
John, all the best, my friend. We look forward to talking to you as the summer evolves. Thank you again for all that you do for athletics in Hampton Roads.
Again, I appreciate you having me on, Greg. Thank you, sir.
Very good. John Ashley right there, the Director of Athletics at York High School. Stay tuned. Portions of this program were previously recorded. Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris is now on the Audacy app and Audacy.com.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual and comfortable atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar is located at 4201 Granby Street and is a tradition in Norfolk. Call 640-7705 and log on to MiHogarMexicanRestaurant.com. At Mi Hogar, there's something for everyone.
Buffalo Wild Wings in Newport News. Great lunch and dinner, late night at Buffalo Wild Wings. Delicious food, wings, appetizers, beverages, all the games on TV. Open 7 days a week. Like Buffalo Wild Wings on Facebook. Friendly and hardworking staff. Jefferson Avenue in Newport News by Patrick Henry Mall.
Sakura Japanese Restaurant in Chesapeake is your destination for excellent Japanese food, featuring fresh sushi and hot dishes prepared in the kitchen for lunch and dinner. Sakura is located at 1437 Sam's Drive at the Walmart Way Crossing. Oh Yummy Sushi is at the Renaissance Place at 401 North Great Neck Road in Virginia Beach. Both Sakura in Chesapeake and Oh Yummy Sushi in Virginia Beach are available with DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Pickup. Tasty Japanese food the way you want it is at Sakura and Oh Yummy Sushi.
Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville and Virginia Beach, open daily for lunch and dinner. Mike and the staff will take good care of you. Burgers, steaks, salads, appetizers, desserts, and much more. Great atmosphere, nice bar, spacious dining room. 1255 Fordham Drive in Virginia Beach. Thank you for listening to Sports Scene. Always great to connect. At Greg Bick on YouTube. That's GregBic. Subscribe. Also Greg Bick on Twitter as well. For more, go to gjbtv.com, hrsmhof.com, and hamptonroadsonlinemall.com. Also connect with me on LinkedIn, Greg Bicouvaris, and also Facebook, Greg Bicouvaris as well. Thank you. And welcome back to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris, also on social media. Find it right there. Sonny Dearth, longtime guest on Sports Scene, sports highlights, and a lot of our shows, including games. Sonny Dearth is from the Pilot and the Daily Press. Sonny, how are you?
Greg, thanks for reminding me.
Always a pleasure, always a pleasure. Let's get right off to the breaking news, Sonny, with the LIV and the PGA Tour. As a purist, as a conservative as I am, I'm kind of shocked, especially with some of the players, like the tenured players like McIlroy and Tiger Woods, who stayed with the PGA Tour all along. And I just thought I'd never see this day. I'm still a little confused over the whole LIV Tour. It's all about money. I get it. And money, of course, you can play less and earn more. But this is still kind of shocking and breaking news.
Right. I can see why some people are very upset. in the end, I think it will be good for golf to have all of the best players competing against each other regularly. It certainly was a surprise. I thought this would have to be settled in the courts and also just with the world golf ranking, because the key in golf is who can qualify for majors. That's the most important thing in terms of competition. Now, Saudi Arabia certainly has had some unsavory characters in the past. The problem is so many people do business with them, including the U.S. government. And I give Stephen A. Smith credit for pointing that out yesterday. You have to deal with them. Now, the fact that the PGA Tour has gotten some control over this should help. What the PGA Tour should do, in my opinion, and these players, is make sure that they give these to charities who might have been affected by anyone who crossed paths and got on Saudi Arabia's bad side. And if the people from the LIV side can't handle that, they should go off the tour.
Yeah, the LIV Tour, they get instant credibility.
The PGA Tour is known for charity work. They've got to really triple down on that now, or else they're going to take a serious and very possibly deserved.
And Sonny, you talk about it too. It's who would have thought this? All along, they've been playing in the majors together. That has not been interrupted for the most part.
Once the PGA points drop off for a lot of the LIV guys, they would have had a hard time qualifying for majors unless the world golf ranking people decided to let them do so. And at that point, it really would have become messy.
You're exactly right. It's all about the world golf ranking and, of course, the majors, but also the people like Jack Nicklaus and the late Arnold Palmer. They're probably shaking their head over this because, all they've ever known was the PGA Tour and the Masters and the U.S. Open and the Open, of course, and the PGA Championship. So this does kind of break the norm.
LIV did bring some very unusual elements to golf, playing just 3 rounds instead of 4, a bigger emphasis on team play, and, they kind of made it like a basketball game for the fans at times. It was more of a circus than the PGA Tour certainly was, but the TV ratings for the LIV Tour were down, down, down. They're probably glad to get some people watching their players on the tour again.
Absolutely. Of course, they have a lot of money, but like Sonny said, you didn't see them on ESPN or the traditional networks. A lot of the events have been on YouTube and other linear channels as well. Talking to Sonny Dearth. Sonny, for a long time, Kingsmill hosted a PGA tournament as well from 81 to 2002. And of course, the women were playing here for a while. They were idle for several years, and they've been idle since 2021. Do you think a world-class golf resort like Kingsmill, where Curtis Strange played at, will ever come back to a golf tournament?
Certainly. It's just a matter of which company is willing to become the title sponsor. The facility absolutely is good enough.
Because it's, been around so long. It's a resort area where Busch Gardens and Water Country are. And, of course, Kingsmill definitely adds quality of life as well.
Greg, yeah, the women who played on the LPGA Tour here absolutely loved it.
Yeah, they treat it like a fifth major. You're exactly right. And, of course, it was a great event for the women as well, and great amenities, and from Orion Burkhardt involved in that golf tournament. And then let's get a preview now, since we're talking about golf. Sonny, the U.S. Open's coming right up.
Yeah, and, now there won't be any lack of talking points, will there? Oh, my gosh.
Good timing as far as that's concerned. Who do you like at the U.S. Open?
I don't even dare to guess. Why not Rory McIlroy with all this incentive? Why not him, huh?
All right, we got to talk about your favorite sport that you played at James Madison University and are very involved with tennis at Christopher Newport. You've been playing tournaments since you've been a kid. Tell me about the French Open and your thoughts on the Americans, both in the women and the men's side.
Unfortunately, the Americans, they're all out. Some had a pretty darn good showing. Coco Gauff got to the quarterfinals. Taylor Fritz and Francis Tiafoe won a couple of matches each. But that's not really their surface. They're much more geared toward Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. The match everyone is kind of pointing toward is the semifinal between Carlitos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic, and that should be a barn burner.
Absolutely. I'm waiting to see golf win a major, but like you said the other day, off the air, she is definitely young and has got some time as well. But it's been a drought as far as the American men are concerned. Why is that, Sonny?
Well, I don't know if it's so much drama. It's just clay doesn't suit these particular players as well as hard courts does.
Mm-hmm. Closer to home, there's a big tournament in July that Darryl Cummings is involved with, the former Old Dominion tennis coach in Richmond. Talk about that event. You've played in it. It's got prize money as well.
Oh, yeah, it's the USTA McDonald's Mid-Atlantic Open clay courts. It tends to have a lot of good rising college players, some older teaching pros and sort of touring pros. And it's certainly not ATP level by any means, but it has some guys on the way up. I've seen people like Tread Huey and John Peers, Samdev Devarman, who went on to be regular players on the ATP tour coming up. And it's a lot of fun, and it's free. It's at Salisbury Country Club in Midlothian, which is just south of Richmond.
Sonny, with tennis...
And it's in July, the second week in July.
Yeah, with tennis being such a big sport, especially during the summer, talk about some of the great Virginia players that have gone on to the ATP Tour over the years that people might know and might not know.
Oh, the best from Hampton Roads was definitely a female from Newport News, Lee Thompson, in the late 70s and early 80s. I grew up in Richmond with a lot of guys who were on tour. And again, I put Arthur Ashe in a total different class than all of those people. He is certainly, he's one of my idols. He was number one in the world, a major champion. And if everybody needs to know about Arthur Ashe, and I suspect that everybody does. Some of the guys I grew up with following that you might not know about as much were Rodney Harmon, who's now the head women's tennis coach at Georgia Tech, Tommy Kane, who played for SMU. Harmon played for Tennessee as well. Mark Buckley was on the tour. Mark Vines, who played for SMU, won an ATP Tour event. It was just a fabulous time to grow up in the Richmond area and be a tennis enthusiast.
Yeah, although he wasn't big in the pros, Roselle Lightfoot
Wade McGuire was a guy a little younger than I was, who had some success on the tour as well.
Yeah, and Roselle Lightfoot was a great college player in the state as well.
Yeah, and he's still an excellent coach in the D.C. area. He coached Alana Smith, who was the number 2 player on North Carolina State's NCAA women's runner-up team, to Brian Calbus's North Carolina Tar Heels. And I got to know Brian when he was the coach at William & Mary, so I was very happy for him and his program.
All right, quick prediction before we talk about baseball and wrap it up. Heat and, of course, the Nuggets. Your thoughts?
Nuggets in 6.
Okay, there you go. That altitude is tough, that is for sure. And you're a big Braves fan over the years. Go back with the Braves for decades and decades. Of course, the Richmond Braves, too, as well. Your thoughts on this year's Atlanta Braves team?
They started out well. They're leading the NL East. Ronald Acuna is having an incredible year, and that brought me to a point I definitely wanted to talk about. These new rules emphasize athleticism. I do like the new rules. Sometimes the pitch clock, I'm not that keen on that, but boy, I mean, it's much easier to pay attention now to baseball for the average fan. And guys like Ronald Acuna and this new guy coming up for the Cincinnati Reds, Ellie De La Cruz, they're going to love it. Speed is part of the game again, and that's something that hasn't been the case in so long.
Yeah, you remember Ozzie Smith with the Cardinals. He was known for speed as well. Right. The late, great
Coleman.
Yeah, Lou Brock as well. So the Cardinals have had a lot over the years, I guess. And one thing about the Braves, they're consistent. They have continuity that goes back to the Joe Torre days with Dale Murphy and players like Chris Chambliss back in those days. While the Nationals just won the World Series 4 years ago, and most of the players could be in the witness protection program. You barely know who they are. That's just amazing.
Well, they are young, but I think they're getting better. They clearly got some decent pieces in the Juan Soto trade. Mackenzie Gore looks like he could be a major foundation of their rotation. Abrams at shortstop, who's from the Atlanta area, coincidentally, looks like he could be a potential star too.
Sonny Dearth right there. Sonny, give us your Twitter handle.
It's at S as in Steve, D as in David, EARTH, S Dearth.
All right, all the best for the remainder of the summer tennis season, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah, thanks very much, Greg. Have a great one.
Thank you. Sonny Dearth right there from the Daily Press and the Virginian-Pilot. Stay tuned.
So, what's Greg's problem?
I'm very mad!
God, I'm so mad right now!
I know you're mad. I know you're upset.
It's time for What Tees Greg Off.
Sports Scene powered by Audacy, Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. And right now it's time for What Tees Me Off. Just like Kenny said, it's a fun segment. Kenny, it's bad enough to pump gas, but gas pump ads that are loud too.
Oh, when you get to the pump, you get to watch the TV.
And just hear the noise as well. You're trying to have a little peace during the day. How about stubbing your toe on a route when you're walking outside?
Oh, yeah. I stub my toe every day. Mm-hmm. I understand.
When you go to get food and you're at the table and all of a sudden you're out of salt, pepper, ketchup, hot sauce, and you want a plastic fork instead of silverware, the waitress looks at you like, can't you do that yourself? How about, remember the days when we got water when we went to a restaurant?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it was automatic.
What tees you off?
My kingdom for a condiment.
Yes.
I get teed off at the planned obsolescence built into every lightning power cord for my iPhone. I don't care how well you treat them. They stop working. And it ticks me off. It tees me off. People who don't like cats. You know what I say about people who don't like cats, Greg? I don't like those people.
Yeah, the old expression is you tolerate pets but not people.
And my last item, when PGA Golf merges with the Saudi-financed golf league, even though 15 of the 19 9/11 terrorists were Saudi nationals.
It almost screams anti-American. And isn't the PGA Tour all about red, white, and blue?
Yeah, I don't like it.
I ditto it, and that's what teased Ken and Greg off.
Oh Yummy Sushi Japanese Restaurant in Kemps River is open and ready to serve you, featuring an all-you-can-eat experience with signature dishes from the kitchen and fresh sushi prepared for you. Oh Yummy Sushi is open for lunch and dinner daily with dine-in, carry-out, as well as DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. Located at 1255 Fordham Drive at the Kemps River Crossing. Call 937-2011 for Oh Yummy Sushi, the best sushi in Hampton Roads. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, open in Yorktown. Go by and see Paul and his wonderful staff. High-quality chicken fingers, fries, coleslaw, Texas toast. It is delicious. The great chicken sandwich, cane sauce, a kids menu, refreshing beverages, tailgates, they've got it all. Follow Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers on social media. They are open daily.
A tradition of excellence for over 50 years is the Aberdeen Barn Steakhouse in Virginia Beach. Start your experience off with she crab soup, an assortment of appetizers such as the fried oyster Rockefeller, crispy calamari, just to name a few. Aberdeen Barn is the finest premium steaks, prime rib, grilled tomahawk ribeye, seafood, chicken, pasta dishes, and live music in a most pleasing atmosphere. Open daily. Visit them at 5805 Northampton Boulevard in Virginia Beach. Call 464-1580 and log on to aberdeenbarn.net.
And welcome back to Sports Scene. Don't forget our good friends at Buffalo Wild Wings. Go by and see Jessica in Newport News. She'll take good care of you. Always a pleasure to talk to the Marksman Firearms Training Center and Indoor Shooting Range owner, George McClain. George, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, Greg. Ready to start this summer. How about yourself?
Very good, very good. Always a pleasure in June. A little cooler than I thought, but off to a good start. I got to ask you, how's the Marksman evolved from the time you opened it till now?
Well, I think obviously the customer base has grown. That's been our one goal, and then prior to that, to get the customer base to grow is to straighten out the three different facets of the business. We're quite diversified for this type of business, in that we have the indoor shooting range, and of course that encompasses firearms rentals, ammunition sales, and all that. We've got the retail side, which is firearms, shooting accessories, all of and related issues with that, and then we're a state licensed security training firm, so we've got the training side. So those three hats, encompass American Millennium Group, which is the parent company umbrella over all of that. And so the Marksman is our training facility, name that we market under the doing business as. But those three areas, those three hats, have kept us going during some of the bad times where you've seen some other businesses in this industry had to close up shop. So we've been very fortunate that we've been able to hang on and keep growing. So that's the goal right now, is getting recovered from COVID, getting back up to what it was pre-COVID levels, and continue on.
The Marksman is located in Newport News at 520 Industrial Park Drive. Give them a call, 757-872-4130. Google the Marksman, and of course, find them on Facebook as well. Always something evolving, always something very present. You guys have a nice deal with Smith & Wesson. Explain.
Well, we do. So if you're, a law enforcement officer, military, they've got some great deals, for that, concealed carry holders. So you get quite a bit of a substantial, what today would amount to a substantial discount for firearms, because hardly anyone is discounting firearms at all, because the market is so competitive, but you get a good deal with Smith & Wesson products. So we're excited about it. They are too, and they haven't had anyone in this area to take this program on. So they've been working quite well with us. We've jumped on that bandwagon, and so hopefully it will take off as well.
Very nice, very nice. And of course, the store is open Monday through Saturday. There's something for everyone, including accessories and ammunition, and that's always a good sign, right, George?
Well, absolutely. If you got a firearm, you need to stay current with that firearm. For whatever reason you've got it, is just if it's a hobby, you want to come in and shoot and get rid of some stress, or you're concealed carrying or even open carrying. Virginia is a legal open carry state as well if you don't have the concealed permit. But if you're going to carry that gun for self-defense, you've got to stay proficient with that firearm, with the firearm itself, and proficient with your knowledge of the laws. So this training cycle never ends. So you need to come in and whatever works for you. If it's once a week or once a month, whatever you need, but stay proficient with your firearm.
And speaking of accessories, George, do you guys have mace and tasers as well?
We don't do the mace anymore. As far as mace, now we do some pepper spray stuff, tasers as well. But again, when we use the word taser, that implies a particular brand that most law enforcement agencies would carry. So again, you've got the pepper spray, and then these are shocking units. Are battery powered, but they can deliver 100,000. I've seen them up to 300,000-400,000 volts. Obviously, it's not the voltage necessarily that kills you; it's the amperage that along with that. But it will certainly make you turn around and go the other direction.
Yeah, going outside the news. Besides, unfortunately, some of the mass shootings, and let's hope that slows down this summer. And always be careful, like my grandmother used to say: 2 eyes in the front, 2 eyes in the back. But a growing problem, George, with homes, apartments, condos, and even businesses, vacant buildings, are squatters who think they have the right to go into somebody's property. First of all, that's trespassing, and then trying to not leave the property until the homeowner, comes back from vacation or whatsoever.
Well, and a lot of times once they're in there, for whatever reason, law is a screwy thing. But you wind up having to go to court. What happens? You call the police. They come out and you tell them you got trespassers in your house. But then they look at the trespassers, the smart ones that's in there that do this. They run the game of this. They have a fake lease, and they say I signed this lease. I've got this house is for 6 months. It's mine. It says right here on the paperwork. I've already paid for this. Well, the law enforcement, cops that show up, they're going to look at that and say, look, you're going to have to tell the homeowner that, or the property owner, this is going to have to go in front of a judge. You're going to have to. I can't. This lease looks legal to me. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a cop. But the guy's got a lease. I can't kick him out. And then it goes on from there. So you wind up not having access to your property for months, and I mean months. I've seen stories where it's taken a year to get somebody out. So you need to be aware of that. Have people watching your house, your neighbors. If you're going to be going for an extended period of time, if something looks out of the ordinary, give them authorization to get involved. Call law enforcement, or at least call you, let you know, hey, there's activity at your home. You didn't tell me that you had people coming in or anything. Keep your neighbors apprised of what's going on. Privacy is great, but friendship of neighbors can be just absolutely beneficial to you when you're going to be away for a while.
Especially if you can't put your mail away with the post office, get a friend to do it. I tell you, George, just like if you leave food out in the street, you might see a rat. The same thing with your house. If your lawn is not cut, if you have bicycles all over the yard, and your house looks like it's idle, that's definitely an open invitation to vagrants. That's
absolutely true. And they are out there. They will take advantage of it. Yes, indeed.
Let's talk about the class. How are the classes going? And what do you recommend for a first-time person who wants to take a class?
Well, you need to come in or call and get set up. We get emails all the time where someone just wants to sign up for a class. Well, we need a little bit more information. We need to know what your background is, all that kind of thing. So email contact is probably not the best. We don't have someone sitting there 24/7 looking at emails to respond. So it may be a day or two before you get a response back on email, but they're going to want you to call or come in so we can talk to you and see what your experience level is. To set you up with an instructor for one-on-one private instruction. We need to know we need to know the student, need to know your experience level, so the instructor has an idea of how to put together a good presentation or a good teaching curriculum for that individual student. Everybody's different. You're going to have some guys that just they want to sharpen the skills that they already have, and then the next day you've got new shooters that's never held a gun before in their life. So that's a whole different ballgame of how you're going to instruct this individual. So we need to know a little bit more than what they generally would put into an email when you simply say, I like to schedule a one-on-one lesson. We need to know a little bit more info.
And the patron's going to have to make an effort too. You can't do everything by phone, email, or social media. You have to make an effort to go to the store, get to know who the employees are, and be in a safe, comfortable environment.
Absolutely.
All right, George. Well, thank you so much. I know you're pressed for time today, and always a pleasure. The Marksman right there in Newport News on Industrial Park Drive, open 6 days a week, always open online as well. Great place to browse, shop, and visit. George, all the best, and we look forward to talking to you in July.
Greg, you take care. Enjoy your summer and be safe out there.
Very good. Talk to you next month. George McClain from The Marksman. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Greg Bicouvaris, inviting you to listen to my podcast Sports Scene by going to YouTube and typing Greg Bic. That's GREGBIC. Sports Scene is an informative interview show featuring local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests. We do a fun segment called What Teased Me Off as well. For more, log on to GJBTV.com, subscribe to Greg Bic on YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at Greg Bic. Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris is on the Audacy app and Audacy.com. I want to thank our guests today on Sports Scene for our June show. They are John Ashley, Sonny Dearth, and George McClain. For more, go to GJBTV.com. Click the YouTube link on the homepage and subscribe to Greg Bic. That's GREGBIC. Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris on Audacy and Audacy.com, all powered by Audacy. For Ken Carson, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. We'll talk to you soon.
You've been listening to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.